So, well, I see it's bottom of the hour, so
Yeah, let's get started.
half past the hour, as the Brits would say.
Yep.
So reports in Aspen, term 1. So this is our third and final session where we're focusing on Aspen and for the teachers and how they may use the tool to complete the report card. And I hope everyone tomorrow has a very productive and glitch-free day tomorrow to complete their report cards. So that's people have put a lot of time and work into everything today so far. So I hope you have one more day that you find productive. So thank you, Kate and Alicia, for joining me today. Both of you were instructional coaches. So want to share what you've been up to the last week or so?
Sure, I'll go first. I have been I decided this week to be with my family at Rosedale that I normally work with. So that was really great. And we worked on a lot of number talks, lots of multiplication and division happening. And actually the kids, amazingly, even today, they're still like right on and engaged. And yeah, it's neat. It's good to be with them for a whole week, I found.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Alicia, where?
Yeah. Alicia?
So mine's kind of been similar. I actually had a chance to visit a couple of classrooms, kindergarten classrooms that I usually don't work with and don't support the school. So that was kind of nice to be in. And same thing, looking at those little brilliant minds starting to, decompose numbers and find the numbers that are nested inside. So it is really amazing to do that. And I also have been working on some number routines and doing some, estimation and lots of great thinking happening. And I agree, students were still engaged today. And I think going back Monday, hopefully it's smooth sailing for everyone transitioning back.
So excited to see their friends and teachers. But, that just leads us into the assessment part about what your students are saying and what they're showing to you as valid assessment for our reports and deciding what's next in the learning. So it's really great that we've had this opportunity to have partners in our classrooms at times, like to bring out different conversations and point out observations. Okay, so today we'll get started with our land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, known as the Anishbek, and the Delaware, known as Lenape, inhabited these lands at the time of written treaties. And those treaties that are in our area are Treaty 2, Treaty 7, and Treaty 29. These indigenous nations, known as the Anishbek and Lenape, agreed through their ancestral languages to the mutual sharing of the land with obligations and responsibilities to the environment. Today, these responsibilities and obligations extend to all peoples. There's my mouse. So we're going to keep on our theme. The focus for today is to be revisiting things we've learned in Aspen for the report cards in that markbook area and tools area. Hopefully we don't have to discover too much that's new, but when we did make the turn for term 1, we discovered that there were new views for things like the language page, markbook, but mostly it's about your opportunity to ask questions. So Kate and Alicia, I'll be relying on you to manage that question and answer part. So not really a traditional chat. So we have the question and answers going. So if you put something in that question and answer at the bottom of your screen, if you're using a computer, Alicia and Kate will look at them and give you a response like, yep, Pam's going to talk about that, or I'll stop Pam and ask the question verbally, and let's have some conversations about that as well. So just to ground our thinking again, we are at that time where we're writing the reports and we're making those final judgments. And we might be at the part now where we're looking maybe at those kids that have IEPs, or, we struggle to think about, like, what am I going to say about this child's learning? But just know that growing success really gives us that opportunity to use our professional judgment by gathering information from 3 different ways. So what do kids do? What do they say and what do they represent? So we can gather that information and we can then use our judgment to make that final determination about what we put on the report card for the students. We talked a lot about professional responsibility over the last couple of weeks too, where what do we actually have to put on the report card? Where do the X's go? Where, ABCs go? What does a comment look like? So we have that responsibility, but as we write our comments and make a final judgment about assessments and evaluations, we have that professional judgment to look forward to. And again, at the blog, if you're looking for resources that are at your demand, they are at the elementary program blog. And the manual that is there, the print document on the last couple of pages, page 28, 29, there's a list of videos. So instead of scrolling through these hour-long recordings to find an answer to a question, you may find that the answer is in a short little video about that. And I actually shared with our teammates who don't have access to the report card program. So they're like, what am I looking at? So I think Alicia guided you to go look at the kindergarten video and the language one. And hopefully you were able to get a summary of what was going on there.
I did. They were very helpful. Thank you.
Give you a scope of what's there. So those newer ones that are circled there on this image, those are the ones that I created for the term one. So they kind of summarize a lot of the little pieces that were short little clips from the first part. Okay, any questions about anything, ladies, before we get going, or you can cut me off anytime.
There are a few questions. Do you want to field questions now?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so
Copy from Sally. She likes the GIFs, Giphies. I don't know.
no, this is from Christine, I think, who says she had a student change schools right after the break. So
Okay.
I'm assuming after Christmas break. She needs to do a report card for this student, but he has been removed from my class list in Aspen. How do I get access to it?
Okay, great question, and we will answer that. I'll show you live too when we go there. But it's interesting, like when we talk about Aspen as a whole, they talk about students having a membership. So the kids that are in your classroom are considered enrolled. So they're the ones you're taking the assessments on. And then the ones that you had and left, they've withdrawn their membership from your class. So in Aspen, you'll be able to look at students as those two groups. So I'll show you where you click on to the withdrawn part. So that is definitely something I'll model for you when we go live.
Okay, and there's another one here. And actually it might be good to go to the blog spot for this if you want like a quick snippet, but it's there as it's anonymous, so I'm not sure. Can you give a visual example step by step on how to insert a student's comment and grade in the quickest, most efficient way?
Okay, so I'm going to do that the way that are shown in the videos. And
Okay.
for actually when this week I was stuck on a couple of problems. And so I had to change my view a couple of times, like leave the computer screen, go for a walk, and the answer came to me.
Okay.
So when I came back, that was actually one of the things I was discovering in Aspen, like you can change your view. So I'm going to show you the two ways that you can look at a student's markbook entry. So then you can determine which is the best view for you. Because Aspen, even though it's like at strength and being connected to many things, right now where the status is at is not very efficient for like doing things in a batch job. Like I want to group kids together and do this for everyone. It's not great at that just yet. I keep hoping.
Okay, that's all for now, Pam.
Okay, great. So I do want to, so when we go live to Aspen, this is kind of what I was thinking that we would focus on would be those enrolled and withdrawn students. Look at the markbook again, and just if people have questions about that, you can fire specific questions about that. Tools and comment building, things that, just if you want to managing your report card library piece, and posting grades, the essential nature of that, and the printing. And I've put this little graphic in there because it is still winter. So that was one of my problem solving things early in the week when people were like, I can't find my report cards. Where did they go? They weren't that calm when they were speaking, but it's because we actually, in the middle of the week, we went from Aspen saying on Tuesday, it was a winter term. And with the turnover to actually being term 2, we rolled into the spring term. So we are still looking for all winter. Anytime we're printing or putting marks in, we want to make sure we're in that winter mode. Because the default in Aspen has pushed us into spring, but we don't get to go there just yet. Okay, so I'm going to hop over to Aspen. Hopefully my screen is still available for me here. Escape. How come? There we go. So Aspen. So I am working in that test environment. So if you recognize the school as Sir John Moore, yes, I am the teacher at Sir John Moore School, but the students I'll be showing you today are not real students. So I am in the Mark Book page. And I just want to go back to the pages part, the home page. It's not visible on my screen, but because this is the test environment, but if you are in this home page, you will get some announcements, and that's where that announcement came about the winter and spring term. So when you log into Aspen, if there's something that's like really important about report cards or really important about attendance, that's where that announcement will be. But I thought we would go to the Mark Book first and answer the first question we had about withdrawn students. So this is I'll show you a grade 6-7 class. So we have our students here and we have all the marks that we're putting there. And you'll note that this table is quite large. And so you need to slide it from left to right to access where you put the narrative in for the report card. So you will recognize these students' names because they are the ones that are enrolled in your class right now. So you're actively, and you're thinking, I should be finding like a Kate, but I have to do a report card for her. So that's where you will click on this withdrawn button and the class list will change. So there was a student here that these kids were put in here by mistake, actually grade 6. So this is a grade 7 class. So there was a student, this Jackson Brandon, that was in the class, but then has been withdrawn. So that teacher there was asking the question about where do I find the student? That's where they access them. So you and your principal determine your requirement for completing the report, and that's where you will find them. Again, follow the same steps, enter in a mark. You want to put in following your grade requirements. And when you're finished there, you remember to post the grades and make sure it's winter. And you'll be posting the grades again because I've been here before. Yes. And withdrawn students with grades are present. Would you like to include them in this post? Yes, I would. Those of you that don't have withdrawn students, you may see that come up as well. Don't worry about it. You can just pop it. If you're worried about it, click no and go back and have a look and go like it's blank and then click yes again. So if you're unsure about that, you can email me and I can talk you through that as well.
Okay, so when they post grades for the withdrawn student, will it change your other students?
So if I was in withdraw, so if I've been working away and I did some things in enrolled and I put in mark. So if I did this, 89, and then I'm going to go over here to withdrawn and I add that other mark. Okay. If I don't post grades, it's going to stay in this table, but it won't launch to the report card yet. So post grades.
Okay.
And that's why it's saying you've got you did changes in enrolled and you've done changes in withdrawn. Do you want both of those to go in?
Perfect. Thanks,
questions.
Pam.
Yeah. So yes, if you're not sure, like I wasn't, I was clicking no at the start. Go and have a look, come back, redo it. And then this is where we want to ensure that it's still winter term. So this was I needed to go for a walk and figure out what was going on here moment of my week. So elementary provincial reports. So this is what I want to look at. And the default is spring here. And this is where you will say, no, I want to see the winter report. Okay. Because what was happening was you were creating marks on your winter report card, but you were saying, print me my June report card. So of course it's blank. So that was the difference there. Okay, and run and you will see the reports come up. Again, it's a PDF version, so you cannot make any changes to the PDF version on this report. Again, this test environment, so we're putting all kinds of gobbledygook in there to make sure it fit. and you can, this is the only place you have that full view of the report card, unfortunately. So just a follow-up question about that withdrawn student. So if that withdrawal student, Brandon Jackson, I want to look at his report card and see, what does it look like? When I ran the report, he is not included in that report just yet. He's not, because he's not my enrolled class. So this is where I talk about changing the view for this. So for any student in our class, if we click on the student's name, we can go to the single student view. So this is just Brandon's language report card. So some people might like to work in that view. So like I'm just talking to Brandon and I can enter my marks here, click on my narrative comment and put that here. Ideally, what's supposed to be happening is that I should be able to print each student's report card individually. But what's happening is I'm getting the whole class to print here. So this is a glitch in Aspen right now. So it's been waiting, we're waiting for Aspen to fix it. But if you want to see your that student's report card, your principal can, or the office staff can print it for you. Okay, so I'll repeat that again because it's kind of like long piece, is that for the reporting, we should be able to see just one student's report card. Mm-hmm. Not working now, get your principal or secretary to run that specific teacher student's report card so you can have a look at it.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. Any other questions coming in?
So there is one, Pam, that I was wondering about, and this is something that when I was writing report cards before was always something that I always wondered. So Julie is asking about learning skills comments, and she's created learning skills and separated it into paragraphs, and the paragraph format is not showing up when she's posting the comment. So I'm assuming, those nice, well-crafted paragraph form comments are not transferring over when she's posting grades. Is there a way to fix that?
So we've asked Aspen to fix that. And so because if you are in the homeroom version here, and if we have a report card, this is me sampling to see if it's going to fit. I'll pick somebody different actually. So if we wanted to put in this comment, and so there's someone like organization, if I press enter, it looks great here. And next steps. This is a made up comment actually, so you know. So that looks great there. When we save that and launch it to the report view, it doesn't show up with those spaces. And that is because Aspen is very dependent upon character space and just the formatting that we have to that box. So don't spend your time fixing it up. It is what it is. So one visual clue that people might want to try though, if they feel like I want to be able to have things distinguishable, is maybe like the word, I think underline will work. So if you did organization and underline the word, that might work for you, but I'm not 100% sure. But there are things that you can spend your time on. I would not spend my time on spacing that out. And we know it's a readability issue, and that's why we've got it up to Aspen to say, like, we need to make sure our reports are readable for all of our families. And so that's one way we can do that.
So that would make sense as well, Pam, if you were looking to kind of like insert a blank line, because it's so dependent on character count, that's not necessarily an option for Aspen.
Yes, if you were doing like space, 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 space to get to the next level, that would count as characters, and you might not have, if it was arts, I would be concerned about the length of my comment. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I keep note of all these things too, so, and share them with IT, so they are put to Aspen as like, can you do that? I don't know if people have noticed, but the boxes fill from the middle. So instead of filling from the top down, if you put a comment in, it sits in the middle and it fills out that way. So it looks like the comments floating in the middle, and it just seems odd. So we've asked for them to fill from the top down as well.
Pam, there's another question here. Someone who is working, they've done a bunch of learning skills. They did about 5, and after they did them all, they saved them, but then they seem to disappear. Is there another sure way to ensure nothing gets lost? Is that the post grades?
Yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can find one here that has, I'm gonna take this out here just to, so a lot has to do with, okay, I'm right here at the end, and I have on this learning skills, 2,800 characters are allowed and 2,681 characters are used. If I just start adding some X's in there, I'm gonna fill up my box. If I, sometimes this save may not take into effect. If you're right at your, okay, it took it that time. But I would be very careful about not getting at that character count. So,
Okay.
you know, take a couple of steps back. And if you're worried about it, I would make sure, like, you know, I wrote a couple of things, save, wrote a couple of things, save, just as you go along. If you're having like some worry about losing it again. And my understanding is, like, when you're in this spreadsheet area of Markbook, it should be constantly saving. And it's the post grade is an action to move it from one place to another. But I would make sure that, you know, if you're concerned about it, save often.
Okay. Last week you mentioned there was an issue with a code for a pronoun.
Oh, yes. So the pronoun, the he, she, so the spacing was, worked well for girls. So if it was like, you know, she attends well to blah, blah, blah. The she, the spacing would be fine, but if you put a he in there, there was the spacing challenge. That has gone to Aspen, and it has, I believe it has been fixed. I don't know if it's a retroactive fix, so I wouldn't spend my time going back in and finding all those extra spaces and taking them out. Give yourself a break. It's a space. But from moving forward, that should be fixed. So if you were creating a comment from scratch today with the he, she there, the spacing should be fixed.
Okay.
I don't know what it does for former comments.
Thanks.
And why do we know about these things? Because eagle-eyed teachers share that this is an issue. And then we,
Right.
you know, I am not that close attention to details. So.
There was that comment at the beginning about a quick, easy way to make a comment and post that. Did we get to that yet?
So I haven't done that yet. So if we're looking at tools, I'll go there for first. So in that create the comment area, click on the comment word. I'm going to minimize you guys here. Close that it. So I am working in my enabled comment library right now. So every teacher has way more than my 21 because I have to start from scratch and build some and play around with them. If you're looking for all the comments forever that include the LKDSB ones, that I would suggest looking them over because the old math curriculum's in there. We have to do some tidying up on those. But so there'll be 2 owners of those. So making sure you're working in your enabled comment. And I'm not sure if the question was about creating it here or quickly applying it. Do you know, Kate, if it was?
Sorry, let me go back to it for just a minute.
You're doing
an example, a visual example, step-by-step on how to insert a student's comment.
Okay.
And grade in the quickest way.
Okay. Thank you. So first of all, have your comment made, right? So you have it in your bank. If you look at my table here too, you'll see that I have some missing pieces in my categories. And the categories are really powerful in helping you find the exact comment that you want when you're applying it in Markbook. So I was looking at, you know, making sure my category 1 was always my subject and category 2 is a grade and category 3 was a level. And if you have missing pieces, I would highly suggest that you spend some time, like over the next 3 months or so, getting your library tidied up. That's where you want to spend it. Put it in your category piece. So say if I have a comment that I like, and then I'm going back to Mark Book, and I'll pick a different subject. Let's go to grade 6 science, say. Loading. I haven't been here in a while. It's probably why it's taking so long. Okay, so this is one place where you put that in. Again, just enter your mark. So if this is grade 6, I can use a letter grade, and I can just type that in, and I can write a comment in there as well. In the comment. So if you wish to use that comment library bank, clicking here and searching your categories. So then you're instantly focusing in on science. I'm going to put this one in. And oh, I should have mentioned too, having that preview helps differentiate them too, because by the end of the year, you might have 4 or 5 science comments that are for that grade. So that preview statement, because you don't get to see the whole comment, having that gist statement is really powerful to put it in there. So that's one student done. If I was thinking about all the students that I was going to have assign that B comment to, I would maybe consider using this save button. So say if I was looking at my list and I said, my next person I'm going to give a B to is Eric. So I can skip through here until I get to that Eric student. And again, I still have to go through that process of clicking to find that comment to put it in. And so when I use that save in advanced, I save and go to the next student. So some people like that view. And so that's where I got into the idea of like changing my view. Maybe I want to look at things in this view here. So where I have the student's name, I'm working at one student at a time, put their mark in, still have the ESL IEP here, and put their comment I can write in there. And I don't know, the page just seems a little cleaner to me. So it changed my view. It might be a little simpler to go. And I can click through my students using these kind of VCR buttons over here. So I was at Kale, and now I'm at Barry's, and then Maria. So that might just be a view that people like to see. You still have access to all the functions of the comment bank from there. And this is where if I wanted to print, ideally I should be able to print that one student's report from this spot, not the whole class, and this is where it would be. But we'll get that fixed too.
Pam, there's a couple questions about, Alicia, do you know what Sammy means when they say, can we do both?
No, actually, I was just going to type back. I missed when that kind of came in, so I don't know,
Yeah.
Sammy, if you'd be able to maybe give us a little bit more, but I do that other question. Pam, we have a teacher who, they've been online for 5 weeks, obviously.
Yes.
A prep, gym and art teacher, and only 1% of the students have been showing up. Just wondering how much of the online learning should be reflective or used for that final assessment for term 1.
Right. So if we think about term 1 report card, it is the evaluation of students' progress from September until February 3rd. So if we take it in that context, the virtual learning environment could really improve some kids' marks. And if they haven't been participating, like what's the impact we have on that? But as a teacher, you have that judgment moment and say, like, maybe these circumstances beyond a student's control have not allowed them to really engage in the learning during remote learning. And I can use data, observations, conversations, and products I've had with the students since September. And people often say, well, what about the progress report? Yeah, the progress report was exactly that. We are talking about progress. We're not in that judgment stance to make a final assessment. So we're in that assessment for learning time at progress time. That's where it's like progressing for learning, progressing well, progressing with difficulty. We're not making a judgment yet. Now, obviously, we're starting to have a path of where students are going, but you can freely go back to September and use the data from all the way back there. I feel for you, like art teachers, like the ones that are, creative, like if you're doing a 3D artwork in your lessons, and then all of a sudden we're not able to do that and students aren't engaging, like how do you find that? So be reflective back on the whole term as well. The
Great,
other
thanks.
option, yeah.
That's good. There aren't any more questions. I think we cleared up that other one.
Okay, thank
Mhm.
you. I do want to go and look at the arts, since we're kind of in that area right now. Back to my book. And scores. Oh, and this is the other thing I discovered. I am not a fan of this, especially when I have so many classes, because I am like in the test environment. So they gave me all the classes to test out, but
Mhm.
I don't like that it's not alphabetized, and I don't like that it's small. Just a statement. Then I discovered, I could use these buttons again. So it says science and tech right here, but I can skip through using these buttons. So it's just a different view.
Oh, okay.
But it helps me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I wish they were in alphabetical order. That's what I've been asking for. But okay, so for dance, so one of the things someone's asked about is we didn't do dance this term, so we're not assessing that. So you would put your lowercase x, and the lowercase x has to go in its own column. It's not in the evaluation column. So just that was one thing to check in there. And dance has a box that has, I think as a total, has 1,200 characters. Yeah, I think that's right. So, but we think about the markbook page is for dance. I'm the teacher of dance, so I put the mark in and I put the comment in. And I might have a curriculum partner that's doing drama and music, and then I'm also doing the art. So we have to share that 1,200 character. So it's not a free-for-all box. So we all had to, everybody gets the same amount. And so that's why the decision was made to have like the 375 characters for each of the boxes, because we have the responsibility from Growing Success to report on 3 of the art. So that way everyone's art comment would fit. And there is room for and we kind of gambled a little bit, I guess you would say, like, so that most students are not going to get 4 art marks in term 1. There might be the exception to the rule that happens. So then those teachers might have to do a little flexing and sharing the space. And I agree, it's not a lot of characters to tell the story of what a child has done in the arts when we section it off like that. So that is, again, just the way it is, that we just have a limited amount of space.
So Pam, what would you suggest if the same person is teaching all of the arts?
So again, problem solvers, I love this. So you can go through, and so dance, you put a mark in, you put a comment in, and then the other 2, you would do the same thing. If you know you want to say more about visual arts and less about dance, like if you've written that comment, you can do that, like share the space, but just know that they are arranged by the way they are on the report card, like when you put them in the box. So dance will go in first, then drama comment, then music, and then visual arts. So if you have the most to say about visual arts, you would have to borrow from the ones above. Kind of thing. You can't manipulate the order of those. They're fixed because they go in.
Okay. So when it actually fills it all into the same box.
Yeah.
Because of that earlier comment, we were talking about how they don't leave that paragraph spacing.
Yeah.
It would just automatically come right after the period of the previous comment.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you could actually do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you wanted
All
to
right,
play
thanks.
around. I might play around with one and go like, this is
Yeah.
my art comment. This is
Yeah.
my,
Okay. Good idea.
like see where
Yeah.
where it is, and then play around with it before I got too far into it.
Right.
But like
Okay.
people are trying to give value more. I love that.
So Pam, I think that kind of lends nicely to a question that is actually in the chat. So after you've spent the time and you've kind of manipulated that comment the way that you want it to, is there a way that you can apply that comment to more than one student like we could before in Trillium without having to like copy and paste, or is there a way
No,
you could do that?
not
Okay.
necessarily, but I know teachers have shared with me their workarounds. So
Right.
the issue is names and gender assigned to the name, correct? So I know some people have made like their drama comment, and they have gone, this is the drama comment for students that get this she pronoun, and this is the comment for the he one. So they kind of apply, then they go like, this is the boy comment, they go through and apply that, and then they just go in and edit a name rather than doing like the whole thing. So that way they can copy and paste, like just do like name in the comment and with all he's in it, and then name with all the she's in it, and then they apply them that way. That works for some people.
Okay, so it's not seamless, but it does kind of take a little bit of the workout, just having to go back through and change that name to the specific individual students.
And you know what, like that might be the way you do your editing and revising too. It's like, this is my core comment that I'm going to give to the students that identify as female in my classroom. So I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to go back and read and say, okay, Alicia, and then I'll read it over. I like this, but I'm going to tweak it here, change your project name, or, you know, give you an extra start, like, because the comment may not be perfect just for you, you know, that sort of thing. And again, where are these ideas coming from? Creative teachers.
Thank goodness for those creative teachers. Okay, thanks, Pam.
And some people are doing the comment over in Google themselves and just copy and pasting that over too. So like whatever is the workflow, but it is a lot of clicks, like for sure, to get things in. Just remember to post grades to get them to launch up to the report. And when you print, you're printing the winter report to make sure you see your good work. You can't wear it, the post grades button.
Now I'm wondering, I know I have heard a few teachers who are saying that they're getting an error message when they're applying the comment. Is there a reason why that might happen, Pam?
Yes, 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 yes. I'm gonna go to tools because it happened to me too when I was practicing. Let's see. So I was looking at art code. So this code looks lovely, but when I go to apply it, I get an error. And it's because the challenge is right there. I missed a bracket when I copy and pasted it in. I need that funny looking bracket to be there again. I don't know if there's a name. Rod probably knows the name of those, the brackets. So I would make sure that, you know, you put your, there's my capitalized one there again. So I'm going to steal that one. So most times if you're getting an error, it's because there is a issue with the code itself. So it's a bad copy of the code. Okay. I'm going to take
So what
that
are
off.
some other things that might give you an error code?
So that was one. Somebody was sharing with me, they were struggling with getting they were getting a code too. And when I asked IT, they were saying, one, check your pop-ups to make sure you actually are getting the issues to come, like, so you get the tools that you want. So allow your pop-ups and maybe change your browser. So I have worked on Chrome since minute one of working on this, and I haven't had any issues. But I've had two people report to me they were working on Chrome and not working for them. But as soon as they switched to Firefox or Edge or Microsoft Explorer, Internet Explorer, the problem resolved. Again, make sure you are, when you go to that new platform, you have to allow the pop-up blockers. You never get that right. I don't, I want things to pop up, allow pop-ups, that's what it is.
Want to allow them to pop up.
Yes, exactly. Double negatives happening there. Yeah, so that might be another source of the error that might be there. But check your code and always copy and paste the code from the booklet rather than typing it in. I know some people have those mad computer skills. I've yet to figure out where that vertical line is on a keyboard. I have no idea. So copy and paste.
Just so everyone's knowing, they're called curly brackets.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice. So there's square brackets,
Yes,
curly brackets, and
correct.
then just brackets.
Yes, parentheses or round brackets.
Ew.
Yes.
The more you know.
Yes, and actually the curly ones sometimes are called braces.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, Kate, you are full of
I was
wonderful.
quick on the typing. I needed to know that answer.
Sure.
That's it. That's good. Yeah, I was talking last week too about when I was talking about the categories. Again, you're in charge of your library there, so making it work for you. So I was happy to find out like that I can sort this down to a more manageable piece. So I was thinking it's my science comments that are a mess. So I went through the ID looking for anything that's a science comment. So let's see what else is here. Science forces, science simple machines. It's funny what you're thinking of when you're making, when you're doing all of your comment building.
Mm-hmm.
So if I selected those science comments, I can show just that selected one. So it shortens my list up a bit. So again, I'm changing my view to make it a little bit more manageable for me. And so then the reason why I want to do this is I wanted to make sure I had all my categories in. So this one still needs some work. So I'll go back in and edit that.
Right.
So
Pam, can you show it? Like, so where is that? Where's the PDF? Is it a PDF where we go and copy those codes from?
Yeah. So it's actually on the blog. You probably got it in a bunch of different ways, an email from your principal and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I always seem to go back to the blog and find things there. So it is here. The LKDSB creating elementary progress report in Aspen. It should be renamed. It didn't get renamed when it was there. I made it in the progress report and it's been updated. So I'll just show you here. Yes, there we go. And to make sure you have the right one, make sure you're in the January 2021 piece. So when we flash forward to June, this document will be updated again for the June and it'll put things in like be aware of term 1, term 2 switch over. Like that's going to go in there.
Could there be changes in the codes then?
There will not be changes in the codes. It's more about like the things that we've learned.
Okay.
Yeah, so not the codes.
Sure,
So I'm just sorry for this quick scroll here. There's my code page. I should have looked at, there it is. So there it is there. So then you can just click on those to copy and paste them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that will help you, Christine. Is that where you were looking? She was saying she couldn't quite copy them, but maybe it was from a
Yeah,
different...
you know what? I have issues with the PDF document too. So if you instead, because I try to highlight it and it's not working for me, click on it, like 2 or 3 clicks to highlight it.
And then right click and copy?
Yeah, and then right click and copy it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I can go and put it into my reports. I know, it's clunky. Yep, so put it in there and see that time I caught the whole curly bracket to go along with me.
Okay.
And save. So again, just trying to manage things so that you're able to, function a little bit more quickly. And I was thinking like if we could, and to get all of those back, just to remind myself, so I panic, I didn't lose all my comments. I'm in a custom selection right now. So filter back to my enabled ones to get all of them. But I'm thinking if they can put in this is my dream, one small step at a time. If they can allow us to sort, like put this little checkbox here and then sort my selected, why can't we have that added here and then select my students? So that way I can maybe want to talk about the kids that are going to get the A in dance and do their comment, that sort of piece. And then get everybody back and who's going to get a B. That might help reduce the number of clicks. But I'm just asking right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that whole organization piece too. When you have all of those comments built, you know, what is the best way to keep that organized for your own kind of sanity, really?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I've learned, like, for sure, when you are adding a comment from the start, even though it says only the ID and the code, the actual comment are required, taking a few moments to actually fill in the other 4 fields has really been effective for moving forward. So I think I have like what's in a comment. So like IDs required and this is required, but filling in those other ones have really paid it forward for me and being able to sort going forward and being consistent. That would be another piece. Is it playing nicely with my old comments? Because everybody's ID came across as comment here. So it's not like, so that didn't help a lot. So going back and finding those old comments and sorting through, I know that's been a frustration point for people. So, because I've only been looking at it like creating new, and I've been able to use these categories that are useful for me. So again, if you, once you get in, like you can sort, let's see if I go back to, oh, sorry, the all codes. So in the all codes piece, I believe that your category 1 and 2, so in the ones that are supplied to us are achievement and a subject and a grade. So once you figure out what your old category was, you might be able to use that sort along your category or use your filter. So category 2, I'm going to look for science comments. And use that. So then all the science ones are up, but then you'll notice that you have multiple grades. So many of us have taught multiple grades. So if you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to search on my category 3 on the grade. So I can do 2 searches at one time. I only want to see science comments that are grade 5. So that may help you like make things a little bit more manageable and sort and go like, this is the one I want to keep. This is the one I'm going to edit. And you can, if you find one like life systems, say if you're saying grade 5, I'm not teaching that this year. You can open that one up and that's that disabled indicator. It hides it. So if you click on that, it will hide it from your enabled list. It's not deleted. It's just hidden. So if you go switch grades again next year, you'll be able to bring them all back to that. So I made some videos about that and they'll be published soon. So you can, about managing your library.
That's good to know. So although it might take a little bit of work right off the hop, it's going to be helpful in the long run, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I do remember the growing pains when we first moved to Trillium too. And so it definitely is happening again. And
yeah,
then it will.
I was remembering how you had to look through the binoculars to find things. There was an icon for binoculars. People like you did the binoculars to go look for it. Another request we're putting forward to is having a character count in this box, because I want to know how many characters are in the comment as I'm creating. I don't want to go to Markbook and apply it and find out. Now, it won't be the kind of character count that tells you like your comment's too long, because for learning skills you have 2,800. For art you had 375. So we just want to know how many characters you're using here, and you're always going to be larger because the code is bigger than Pam, right? You take all those characters to scrunch down to Pam. So hoping for that, just to let us know. Oh, and you see my Grammarly is working there, and it's telling me that my text isn't all that positive to the readers. I like when I get happy faces. Somebody was asking me about Grammarly. I just went to the website and got the free version, and it's running up there. And you can see at the top of my screen, maybe Grammarly has access to the site. It's not perfect. Like it's not as good as it is in my email or when I'm using it in Google, but it's something. We're getting close to the bottom of the hour again.
Yeah, we are. We don't have any more questions, but I just thought I would say, since we are getting close to the end here at 4:30, if you want to pop a question, now is the time to do that. If there's anything that's coming to mind.
I'm very appreciative of the people that have come out today to take time to have that one last look at the report card conversation. And I'm actually glad our numbers are like in the 20s because our first round was 130. I would, if it was still 130 the day before our PA day, I'd be like, ooh. But I'm pleased to see that people are just coming to get some one-on-one questions answered. I really hope you have a productive day tomorrow. I will be available throughout the day tomorrow by email. Please email, reach out. There's nothing worse than you sitting for half an hour stewing and getting frustrated when you email me and I go click here and we get the answers done. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to answer the question, like, you know, it's more than a click here, but knowing that I have your back, hopefully will give you a little bit of peace and calm tomorrow.
It's a good day for everyone to take a big breath before we return to the class on Monday. So
yeah, for sure. It's going to be a great transition, I think. Right before 100th day of school. Maybe some of your Ks were talking about that last week. So that's always the halfway through school mark, right?
I think February is like, has been taking a hit. So it's report card.
Yeah.
It's 100th day.
Yeah.
And it's Valentine's Day with the red cinnamon heart, you know, like sugar high. And then we have another, which is great. It's a holiday, but family day. But sometimes like there's pressure to do things with your family on family day, right? You have to do something big, kind of have that feeling. So yeah, it's a busy, busy month.
I think that's it. Julie did ask a question, but I think it's more of a suggestion for something we hope Aspen can change. So I'll forward that on to you about saving and time and stuff. So I just wrote her that I'll share that with you, and then we can always ask, right?
Yeah, like the timing out function. Yeah, I know that's something that it's interesting you were experiencing, but I have my Aspen running all day kind of thing. And I don't like when I go back into it and it's timed out for me, it feels like, yeah, I haven't been in here in a while. Like I've gone off and done other things. So I wonder if it's a function about security for our student data, that's why it's short, because, you know, yes, we're in report cards, but then we also have access to a lot of student data within the Aspen piece. So I'll ask that clarifying question.
What is the time limit right now that you know of?
I don't know.
Oh,
I've never tested it. But it doesn't seem to be as like annoying for me as it is for the teachers. Like, so I'm wondering, just because I'm in the test environment, doesn't matter as much. So,
right.
But hopefully Rod working in the background has a good recording. Are we 3 for 3?
Yeah, it's all good.
Awesome.
And you stayed on that grade 6-7 class, made it even easier.
I did. Yeah. Things you learn to make life simpler. So you just repeat that grade 6-7 classes is not real students, and when we show the report cards that have the OEN numbers, not a real OEN number showing up there. So that helps a lot when it makes it easiest for us to share the videos, because we can just quickly push them out rather than having to hide everybody's names. But Kate and Alicia, thanks so much for bringing the questions to us today and your time for co-hosting today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
you're welcome.
there's
I
a
always learn
prize
so much.
next time we meet. If anybody knows the names of those brackets, if there's a real name for them, I want to know what it is.
I found out they're called curly brackets.
Curly brackets. There you
Curly
go.
brackets or braces.
Or braces.
Awesome.
They're curly brackets.